proposition to this question is by changing the fundamentals of school funding, we believe that making a flat rate pay per student and creating a better funding in all schools, this will provide more equal compensation for those teachers teaching in urban settings, rather than teaching in suburban and rural areas. By creating a more equal salary for Black and Latino teachers that are teaching a larger class size opens the doors to more opportunities for better teachers and aides in the growth of education for Blacks and Latinos in urban areas, where good education is needed the most. By paying the teachers per student, it not also increases teachers' salary, but also broadens the spectrum to more equal pay for teachers. For example, a teacher that is teaching a class size of 20 students versus a teacher that is teaching 50 students, while getting paid the same salary, does not appeal to any prospective teacher. So, therefore, doling out the money funded by the state evenly creates a better opportunity for students and teachers alike.
Our proposition is to make the academic environment more relatable, more palatable to the students. One way we have discussed among ourselves to achieve this is to have more African American and Latino teachers available in the school system. But quantity over quality is a bad idea. We just don't feel that because a person possesses a certain melanin content, they should be qualified to teach. For that reason, we wish to institute a more aggressive educator recruitment program at the college and university level aimed towards attracting these high-achieving minorities. An attractive program that will offer a real incentive to these talented, education-seeking, yet undecided students to possibly pursue teaching as a profession. However, we don't wish to alarm you all, but there is a brain drain in the educator field. People with the talent necessary to turn around our school system are shying away from teaching for a number of reasons, money not being the least of them. We feel that by implementing this attractive recruitment program, we can sway those would-be doctors, we can sway those would-be lawyers, we can sway all of these pre-professional hopefuls to reevaluate their current vocational path, take note of the advantages in the teaching profession, and then dedicate themselves to pursuing a career as a minority educator where they are so desperately needed.
I feel that there should be an increase in diversity in education, focusing on increasing the language proficiency among all students, which is going to create an environment for success. It's going to have, the students are going to have a better knowledge of racial minorities. It can help to curb prejudices and intolerance. Also, schools can move away from preoccupation with trying to just assimilate the students into the American culture, and they can try to give them an environment of a different version of America. The history that has rendered many groups like racial minorities and women and stuff, it's largely made them invisible. We're going to try to teach them more about that. Students can respect the differences and develop curriculum help to understand more about themselves and others. We can also teach students to think critically about America's past and to help them realize that they can play a bigger role in creating a fairer, better society for the future. How we respond to diversity in America will be a challenge for many schools and towns, but it's a problem that we can solve. And once we recognize that the changes are throughout about this world of innovations and technology, diversity is good and it's a future. It's our future.
Well, that question reminds me of my younger years. When I was in high school, I ran track, and I was pretty fast. In fact, one of the fastest on my teams. In practice, however, I found that I ran my slower times when I was running against my slower competition. And I ran my fastest times against my hardest competition. Now, that story goes hand in hand with my response to your question. Which was, just joking, I'm not that old. Instead of separate standards for minorities and majorities in education, there needs to be a more universal standard in schools. Separate standards do not need to be set for the minority and majority. that would just lead to a more subtle form of segregation. Instead, in order to become the post-racial America that so many people believe that we have progressed to, Black and Latino students must be placed on the same playing field as whites and Asians. In America, Blacks and Latinos have been the slower teammates on the track for so long. It is now time that they begin to practice against the fastest runners in order to be more prepared for the competition in the real-world workforce. Thank you.